welcome to another Unity tutorial. In this case, we're gonna talk about Ink. Ink is an asset that lets you create your own visual novel style stories in Unity. And I'm gonna teach you on this first part. We're gonna talk about how to create a wrapper for Ink. I'm not gonna talk about how to write in Ink for now, because the first thing we need to do is how to implement it in Unity. And for that, as always, I'm going to show what this tutorial is about by hitting play in the first minute, so you guys can decide what you have. So what we have here is our script linked to an Ink story. It can decide which actors to place in our screen. It decided from these 4 actors that seem to be the same, but they're not, since they have different names. So you assign the actor names and Ink in the story, and then your script knows who to place where. This one's on the left, this one's on the right. This is on purpose. One is in position 5 and one is in position 0. And it also can change the states of these actors. They can change the mood of the actor. In this case, I have my script has a way to change from angry to happy to excited to neutral for the faces of the actors, a la Fire Emblem. And so what we have here is we have 4 the names are the names are the thing that changes, but the images are the same. So we have an actor test, it has no number, and for actor test 1 it actually has the 1 number. If I had this one's angry and this was probably excited, but we'll see that in a second. And as such, I'm gonna delete everything and teach you how to make your own visual novel wrapper with Ink. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna keep these graphics because I'll need it later. This is my story currently. I will delete it. Okay, so the first thing you will need to do is download the assets. So you need Unity 5.6. You go to your asset store. If you don't have this window, you can activate it in the window and you look for it over here, Control 9 in my case. It's connected to the asset store. While that goes on, I'm gonna go to the Ink website, inklestudios.com/ink, and you have to download Inky, because this is gonna be your editor for your your project. There's all the tutorials here. You could have downloaded the integration from here instead of the asset store, but it's way simpler to just use the asset store. So Ink, search for Ink on the asset store. It's completely free, so we look for free ones, and this is it, Ink Unity integration. So once you have it, I already have it downloaded. You just hit download, and then when you're ready to import it, you import it. Just hit import. It's gonna read the package, and then you just import everything. I'm gonna import everything so I can have the sample script. There's a reason why these people make a sample script, is to guide you, and you just need to understand what's going on under the hood, and you can just support yourself with their script. So I'm gonna check their folder. I'm gonna go to examples, and I'm gonna go to scripts. They have a basic Ink example script. So let's analyze this script. I'm gonna reload my solution. Okay, and now we can see their script. We have to analyze it in order to being able to create our own version of this script, which is gonna be improved version. We have to check their basic example. So what we have here is a JSON asset, a story, which is probably gonna come from this. We have a canvas, a very simple canvas, a text prefab, and a bottom prefab. It's all very straightforward. I'm probably gonna use their prefabs just for show, but you can edit the prefabs. We'll see that in a second. So they do in a wake, they start the story, and then studying the story means creating a new story, and then refreshing the view, which means creating new buttons. Remove the children, and while the story can continue, it creates a content view. So let's check what that means. Creating a content view means they create texts and they set the parent of that text to the canvas that is on this canvas, on our variables. Okay, if you can continue to do that, and then if there's choices, they're gonna create buttons. We can see that here, button, new button, and then they add a listener with the choice. And then if there's no choice, then it says end of story. That's what we saw on my example. Now, that's all it does. It just removes the children when it's when a story part is done, and then there's no mystery to it. It's quite simple. So in that spirit, I'm gonna go to my assets in my scripts folder. I'm gonna create a new script, and I'm gonna call it my ink manager. But I also want a character manager because I want my characters to appear and disappear, to animate, as I was saying, if they're angry, if they're happy. Character manager. I also want a game manager, of course. You always need a game manager to handle some of your functions. And I'm gonna also create another script. It's gonna be called my actors script. Each actor has their own sprites, their own functions, so you can't direct them from outside. You need to tell them what to do. So let's go to our ink manager first. I'm gonna reload, I'm gonna save, and since we know what this does and we basically want exactly the same functions and everything, I'm gonna copy this whole. And then we're gonna make our changes. Oops, I missed. Okay, we have this. See, we don't have buttons, we don't have text, there's errors everywhere. That's because we're not using the same using sets as them. You have to use the same things. Unity engine.ui for your buttons. Unity engine.ui. And using ink.runtime. Which means I'm gonna get the story access now, and it will all work fine. So now that we have this, what are we doing with this? We are actually not doing anything yet because we need a game manager prefab to have all these scripts in them. So I'm gonna create an empty game object. I'm gonna call it a game manager, and I'm gonna give it the ink manager, the game manager, and the character manager. Save my project. See, the ink manager has no text, no canvas, no nothing. I'm gonna also create a canvas in my scene. As you can see, we need a canvas. So canvas in my game manager will have this canvas. The text prefab, they say they have no text prefab, so I'm gonna search in my assets. It still says not. Okay, you say there's none. I do not agree. Examples, prefabs. They have a button and text, so I'm just gonna assign that over here. This is simple text. I'm gonna show it to you right now. It's just a text script with some stuff added, but you can change the font, you can change the font style, you can change the alignment, anything you want. Just test. And with the button, it's also just a button. A simple button with a text element. I'm gonna move it because I can't see it. Oh, yeah, of course the button has to be in the canvas. Yeah, look at that. Button. And I'm gonna delete this button because it's not meant to be there. And so I'm gonna link this here. And my game manager is gonna be a prefab. I'm gonna create a folder, prefabs. Game manager is a prefab. I also need an actor prefab. In my actor prefab for now, it's just gonna have the actor script, of course. And so far so good. Everything looks good. So this is the hard part. we have to duplicate this a couple times. So the first thing we need to do in the character manager, I'm going to go to the character manager, and I'm going to create a public game object array. It's going to be called characters. In this array, I'm going to have my possible, actors. And so now that we can see it here, we go to our prefabs, and you can just drag them and drop it over here. 1, 2, 3. Apply for the prefab saves. Now that we have this, we have to think of ink. I'm gonna open ink right now, and we have a new story, and I'm just gonna type in hello world, and I'm gonna save this story. I'm gonna save it perfectly. This should be fine in resources. I'm gonna call it game story, and I'm going to save. When you save, Unity imports it and it becomes a JSON file. And since now we have that file, we can add it here. Oops, not this. Apply. We now have our ink manager running, up and running. When we hit play, we can see hello world. It's not well positioned, but that's not the matter of this tutorial. The positioning, we can deal with it in other ways. So we hit apply. We go back to our ink. And so what I want to do with ink is create a way for ink to tell my game what I want to do. For example, I want to change my character's expression from happy to angry, from angry to neutral. So I'm going to go to my ink manager, or rather to my character manager is fine. So I'm gonna create a public function, public void change state. This will change the character state, and for that we need, an enumerator of states. Their own emotions, and they're the only ones who can change their own state. So I'm gonna create a public enum. That means this is just a list of stuff, and so this enum is gonna be called character emotions. Character emotion, yeah, that's fine. And it's gonna be happy, sad, neutral, and angry. And so the character itself is going to have a character emotion, my state, and at start their state will be whatever I want them to be. Let's say they're both neutral, which is completely okay to be neutral in state, or you can also assign it in your inspector if you use serialized field. It's completely valid. And so we don't need update. I'm gonna create a public void change state here, because I'm gonna create a couple coroutines, enumerators. These enumerators are gonna have the name of your state. So it's gonna be enumerator sad state. It's gonna do something, and then I'm gonna do the same thing for every state. But what will it do? Well, what it will do basically is change the sprites of the characters. So we need, as you can guess, we need a public sprite array. It's gonna be called emotion sprites. and we need to check out our sprite renderer for these characters. It's gonna be called sprite rend, and start we check our sprite renderer. It's a get component sprite renderer. This is a very code intensive tutorial. I hope you guys don't mind, but this is the only way to build a wrapper from the ground up. So we have a sprite renderer, and we're gonna assign in our minds. Which emotion corresponds. It's an imaginary assignment to which int. So it's gonna be string emotion name. And to change the state, we just call start coroutine emotion name plus state. That way, any of these coroutines starts, changes, and we're fine. So I'm actually gonna start with happy because that's the best thing, the best state you can have in life. And so we're gonna check. This has to have 4 needs. I'm gonna comment needs 4 sprites. If it doesn't have 4 sprites, we may get an error. And so I'm gonna change sprite. Our sprite renders sprite is gonna be equals to emotion sprites 0. So whoever's coding this, return no, this is obligatory. Whoever's adding the sprites needs to add the happy sprite in the 0 position of this list, of this array rather. And so we do the same, just copy this, and we have angry state, this is gonna be 1, and then we have neutral state, it's gonna be 2, and then we have sad state, sad, very sad, it's gonna be 3. Well, we have this now, but we need a function character manager to call that actor. But don't we need to actually create our actors? So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna instantiate my actors with a for loop. So for int I equals 0, and then int has to be, I has to be lower than characters dot length, which means lower than the whole characters list, and then I++, which means every time it loops, it adds 1 number. So you do game object new actor equals instantiate characters dot and the I identifier. So why am I using a variable for this? Well, I'm gonna assign an ID to each public int ID to each actor. This ID will correspond to whether the actor is on the left or the actor is on the right. On the right, so left equals 0, right equals 1. So there's a conversation. You want someone to be on the left or the right. This is a very simple approach to this, but it works. So new actor dot ID. Oops, that's odd. Oh yeah, you have to get the component actor. So the ID is gonna be, well, none for now because we are not instantiating them. So I'm just gonna set active false. You have to turn them off. I'm gonna pull all my actors and I'm gonna turn them off. But I want to have a list of which characters are instantiated. So it's gonna be called, okay, it's gonna be a public list of actors, game object. It's gonna be called actors list. New list game object, and I also want an active and list of game of actors itself. Actor. It's gonna be called active actors. It's also gonna be a new list game object. This is a private one. So we do actors list, add new actor. So now our actors list. Oh, also very important, we want the name of the object to not have the clone name that appears on Unity. So to remove that, you do new actor that name equals characters I dot name. That way there's no clone in the name and you can be sure that your name is going to be the same. So now we have all the actors instantiated and they are added to our actors list for calling them if necessary. So well, unsurprisingly, when you start a conversation in your visual novel, you want to place the characters somewhere in your your screen. So I'm gonna create a public void called place actors, and we're gonna have two strings, left actor name, and another string, right actor name. Now that we have this very simple approach, I'm gonna loop through my list and check the names. So I'm gonna do for each game object geo in actors list. Oops, that happened. Actors list. For each one of these game objects in this actors list, what we're gonna do is we're going to first activate them. So geo.setActive is true. We're gonna add them to the active actor list. So geo.getComponent actor. I made a mistake. I should have done active actors. This goes into this with the add function. So now this object is active in our list, and well, honestly, the first thing you need to do is clean your active actors list. Active actors clear. Oh, let's do that later. For now, we add the active actor to our list, and we need to place them. But where? Well, that's easier than you think. We're going to just have a serialized field vector3 left actor position, right actor position, and we're gonna move these objects to its position. But don't you think there's a little thing missing here? Well, I do. We need to compare geo.name. If it's equal to left actor name, then we set active. We add it and then we move it. Geo.transform the position. Oops. Position equals the left actor position. And as I said before, interestingly, we need to set the ID. This is 0 because it's a left actor, and so if I'm gonna do an else if here, if geo.name, you can guess this is the right actor name. It's just the same deal, except it's gonna move to the right actor position. Oops, right actor position, and the ID is gonna be 1. So impressively, we already have our actors placed, named, and they know who they are. They know I'm the left actor or I'm the right actor. So I'm gonna, this change state is already here. So what the character manager actually needs to have is a change actor emotion void, because I'm gonna call that. I'm not gonna talk to the actors from there. Everything regarding managing the actors needs to go here. So it's gonna be string emotion and int position, int left or right. No, int, let's call it ID. Naming things is the most important part. So I'm gonna comment here. Emotion can only be angry, sad, happy, or neutral. So this way, whoever uses this function knows id left equals 0, right equals 1. Oops, this one. So then we do for each actor and active actors, we check the name. If we don't check the name, so we do if actor dot game object is active active in hierarchy. Okay, active in hierarchy. So if the game object is active in the scene, we are going to check if id. So if actor.id equals the ID that the function is getting passed, the function that the users, the player or me, the programmer, is passing on. If the ID is the same, then we do actor.change state, and we need an emotion name, which is emotion. So now we have our actors with emotions. But we have almost everything now. We have actors instantiated, we have actors placed, and we have actors with emotions changing whenever we need it. But how do we link that to a story? Stories in Ink are just text. It's just plain text. And as you can see, I'm gonna do a little side tracking here. As you can see, we can see crap. So what you do is you hit F12. Not F12. You do toggle developer tools, and you can see you go to console, and there's like a little function thingy here. What you do is I'm gonna check my Inky Settings. I have a file with this, and you just copy this. I'm gonna have this in the description, I guess. So you just hit enter, and it goes wide, large. Now I can see what I'm typing. Close this, and so you can only type here. There's no functions, there's no nothing. But there's a way to wrap your external functions inside Ink, and that's by using the external keyword. So external functions on Ink work in a very interesting way. You need what you need is first a function name. What you need is first a function name. I'm gonna call it place actor, and I need, for my first argument, I need the left actor name, and I need the right. Oh, this is Python, so it should be like this. And then I have my right actor name. I also need another external function, and that external function is going to be called change emotion, and it's going to be emotion, and I need the ID for right or left. So I'm going to remind it here. Left equals here left equals 0, right equals 1. So we have this, but they're not getting called in our Ink story yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create the call to these functions by doing this. place actor, and left actor name is actor, oops, string actor, and right actor name is actor1. Okay, have function. So as you can see, it throws an error. It says there's no function binding for external. But I'm gonna complete this and then show you. Change emotion. Emotion, I'm gonna say angry, and that's gonna go for 0. Oops, I made a mistake. That's 0 here. And then again, change emotion. That's, I'd say, happy for the right guy. Okay. This is again the errors for this. I'm gonna go to Unity, it's gonna compile. And now, the testifier, we go to our scripts again. And we check our ink manager. Well, the first thing, the important thing here is awake is not, to me, is not right to start the story. We're gonna change it to start because awake is too soon. I need to set my character manager CM, and my game manager, just in case, GM. And now character manager is gonna be, I forget, CM equals get component, character manager, and GM equals get component, game manager. Just for future proofing. Now that we have this, we have the start story. So the start story reads the JSON asset that we're passing on, that every time we modify here in Inky, it gets updated. Now, we have to bind our story. Story equals, story dot get, external function, bind external function, and we need to bind the function name, which is the name we gave it here, which is place actor, and then we need the action. So that's gonna take the string left name and string right name, and we're gonna pass it on to, oops, that was a mistake, this guy. We need a semicolon. And so what this does is we have a story, that's our story, and it's gonna bind an external function. It's gonna read from the story. The up function is our place actor. We know that this gives a left actor name, right actor name, and then on Unity we demand that those are strings. If they're not, it's gonna throw an error. And so since we know that we're gonna place the actors, this should be called place actors, not switch his name. Place actors. And so we know our character manager is the one in charge of that. So place actors, we do left name, right name. Boom. This way our characters are placed in the scene. And so I'm also going to bind the external function called change emotion. It's gonna be a string emotion name, well, emotion is fine, and an int ID. Again, we do the lambda expression, we do a semicolon over here, and so cm.change actor emotion, the emotion is called angry. Oh, it's called emotion, sorry, emotion, and then the ID is the ID, just no big deal. So now the story can call functions whenever it needs to. If you have a character that's talking to another character and the character says, "Oh, I'm hurt," you can do an angry emotion and an excited emotion, or if they're happy, if they're surprised, whatever you want. So now we have all this, the code. It's gonna compile a little. Now that we have the code, I guess ready, we're going to go to Unity. We're going to go to our game manager. We have the 4 actors. We don't have the positions yet, but I'm gonna set it to be 15. Our actors don't have the sprites yet. Look at that, my state, this is so beautiful. We need to add the sprites, and as I said, I had the sprites over here. Oops. Actor, where's my actor again? There you are. So I'm gonna just lock this so I don't need to do that again. And so emotion sprites 1, emotion sprites 2, 3, and 4. So 0 through 3. And I'm going to go to my prefabs and I'm going to delete actor 1, 2, and 3. Should I? Yeah, this is easier. So just gonna delete them again, and I'm going to Control D 3 times, and then this is missing now. I'm gonna lock it, and I'm going to do 0 here so it deletes all the list, and I can drag and drop all my guys over here, apply it, unlock, and this is a test of fire to see if it works. We have the actor at left, the other actor at right, so that worked. There's a null reference exception. What's that? Our sprite renderer is not getting found fast enough. Well, the way to help to, let's say, solve this is to detect our sprite rendering awake before anything else happens. So let's try that again. Well, I'm an idiot and I forgot to attach a sprite render to all my actors. So we are gonna select all the actors. I'm gonna attach a sprite render, and we save our project, we save our scene, just in case. Hit play again, and now we have our beautiful scenario with our left character being neutral. They're both neutral. Did I not change emotion? Should not be neutral. Oh, it's not that I didn't change emotions, that I didn't change my state here. So my state equals character emotion dot happy. You don't forget to assign your state kits, because then you feel like idiots in tutorials in public. Angry, neutral, sad. Okay, now we wait a little bit, we hit play again, we check angry, happy, check our story, correct, angry, happy, left angry, right happy. We can see it here, left angry, right happy. The IDs are assigned properly, and as thus we have our wrapper almost ready. We only need, the next tutorial is going to be for audio, like how to play audio, and probably either audio or actually how to write a story in Ink, with a preview of the story I'm gonna be making, and I'm gonna be releasing it probably on PC so you guys can play around with it and you can see what you can do with Ink in Unity. Thank you for watching.